Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I'm joined by Hope Sears and John Henderson, Kathy Fuller-Seeley, and we're here to present a Jackie Gleason episode of the Jack Benny Show, where Jackie Gleason makes his appearance. We're not sure if it's his first appearance on somebody else's show or not. He had his own show going since '52, John was saying earlier, and this is kind of just a fun episode. I enjoyed it. It's really different. The first half versus the second half are very different in this episode, and then they kind of recalled to the first half, and it kind of works. I don't know. Let's go over to Hope first. Hope, what were your thoughts on this one?
Well, I had seen this episode before, and I really enjoyed it. Especially the entrance. That's always memorable. With all of the different chorus girls. So you know, I have limited experience with Jackie Gleason. I haven't watched a whole lot of the Honeymooners, but I did find it interesting, the whole routine about Jack being a painter in the hotel suite. Those jokes were pretty good. But overall, I felt kind of meh about this episode. Like, since I'm not a huge Gleason fan, I'm just like, it's okay. I can. It was interesting to see, but I didn't feel like it brought anything particularly special, especially because at the end there wasn't very much of Gleason really at the end.
Mhm.
And it did feel awkward. It definitely felt like a live episode, and I was struck by how live it felt.
Mhm.
And so I guess to its credit, though, I just thought, like, you think about when 30 Rock or other shows have live episodes, it's this huge big deal, but this was fairly common, and it felt live. So especially
This Jack definitely has some lines that he muffs and
yeah.
things in this episode.
Yeah.
And can't, and it wasn't stuff that he sort of could cover up very well, like he
Yeah.
usually does, and things.
Well,
and,
even his exit was like, "Oh, are we done? Okay." Like, just like leaving. I'm like,
yeah, because he was gonna say
okay.
a nice compliment about Jackie Gleason, and then he's like,
I'll
"Oh,
tell
are
you
we
later.
over? We got to go." And so he didn't have any time to spare. Now that could have been a bit, but it didn't feel like a bit. It felt like totally like he was just out of time.
Mhm.
So all he could do is say, "Jackie is a great." Oh, we had to go. Sort of
Bye.
in mid-sentence, he's like out of there. You would have I would have thought he would he would just finish like that sentence I was thinking and then leave, and that would have worked. I mean,
Right.
he's great, and it was great having him, and then or something, but he didn't even do that. He just said, "Oh, we're out of time, gotta go." So John, what were your thoughts on this one?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I find live episodes exciting because you never know what's going to happen, right? And so, and there's that extra energy and the interaction with the audience, which I thought was really fun and great in this episode. I loved the whole hotel bit and the whole hotel scenes and the big twist. I didn't see it coming. I'm going to spoil it because it's already been mentioned. He's in this fancy hotel, and in the radio show they always mention he's going to this place, but I'm in the Acme Hotel or whatever cheap like fantasy hotel there is, and to actually
Motel
see him
6
there,
like hotel or something.
lounging with Rochester, and you just know something's going to happen, but you don't know what it is. I'm like, maybe Jackie Gleason paid for the hotel, and that's going to be the joke. But then when they do the bit where they become painters, firstly, again, it's on live TV, and it's done very quickly and really well, and lots of fun. And I like how the second time it sort of falls apart a little bit, but that just adds to the fun of it.
Yeah.
To the point where he accidentally leaves that drape on the lamp, and me and the audience wasn't sure whether that was on purpose or by mistake. So Don Wilson coming and his wife loved it. It was great. Jackie Gleason, I hadn't previously seen a full episode of the Jackie Gleason show, but I have been watching The Honeymooners. And I found it really fascinating. I bought this DVD set called The Lost Honeymooners Episodes or whatever. And, it starts out in 1950 or 1951, where he's on the Cavalcade of Stars or something like that. Or some cavalcade show where he's the host. And then by 1952, he's got his own show called The Jackie Gleason Show. And so I sort of scrubbed through one of those episodes, this morning on YouTube to kind of see what it was like. And it starts out with this big number with chorus girls and guys in tuxes. They're dancing. Exactly. They're dancing. And then he comes out. And so it's this big variety show. He does a comedy bit with one guy. Then he does a full Honeymooners sketch like you would see on the filmed Honeymooners episodes, only it's live. And then he does, I think there's a commercial in there. Then he does a sort of over-the-top character of like a detective with like a silly accent or something. And then there's a song from like a singing star of the time or whatever. So you can see how this episode is trading on that show and sort of referencing it when maybe most people these days don't quite get what those references are. But I noticed listening to the Jack Benny Show in the 1955 season, they start referencing the Jackie Gleason Show. Obviously, he was becoming hugely popular at this time. They start using his catchphrases in the Jack Benny Show. And so this is sort of the spring of 1955. And in the fall, that would have been when the famous filmed episodes that we see on reruns came out. So this is, sort of I feel like this is even more than the filmed episodes. This is the height of Jackie Gleason's popularity and, being respected by other comedians.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right.
Well, I remember as a kid, the Jackie Gleason Show. I mean, he was very New York. And then he moved his show to Miami Beach, I remember. But you're right, the June Taylor dancers always come out. So it's a big his show was full of energy. He had a number of characters. When he wasn't doing the honeymoons, he played a bartender. And sometimes he actually did sort of a silent comedy. He had a kind of woeful character. But this show, this Jack Benny Show, Laura Leibowitz tells me, was actually done live in New York. So you can imagine, so the whole cast that now, mind you, they haven't had, it was in 1950 that they had to come to New York to do their first live TV shows. So, they've gotten fat and happy out in California and taping things and doing things under much more controlled circumstances. So no wonder it seems very live and messed up and and maybe missing that last tiny part because he's not on his home ground. He's very much having to go to television, to the New York spaces, and he's very much a guest there. I was struck by the liveness, the fast pace, the bigness of the set. They must have had a large theater space to be able to put on this show in, and it reminded me very much of a Marx Brothers skit. There's one where they have to be painting a room and it's full of chaos and overalls and drapes and things like that. So I really love the sort of, it was to me a callback to a Marx Brothers kind of skit. I also wanted to mention how adorable, how lovely I thought it was of those scenes of Jack and Rochester sitting next to each other so informally in this elegant setting. And I'm going, this is the start of the civil rights movement. That's there are so many, at the same time, the evening news is filled with marchers who are trying to get, on a bus. This is just the start of the civil rights movement, and there's so much strife and hatred, and yet to be able to see these two performers as sort of best friends, and so showing relatively so much equality. Jackie Gleason even saying, "Hey, Rock, how nice to let Jack stay in your suite at this elegant hotel." So it's the little things that I want to say TV historians forget about Jack's show, and they only want to focus on either the evening news in the 50s, or the Amos and Andy show, or a few other guest appearances. And just what a lovely model for a different way of being that viewers across America could get from this show. I was really struck by that. So.
Yeah, 100%. I noticed the same thing. That was great. The other thing, there's more running with Jack than I think I've ever seen ever in my life. And I think that could be why he muffs some lines and things, because he's so busy focusing on the running around and everything. Then he's got to go back and go, okay, now I got to do some lines. And then, I think that's part of what
we've often talked about, how Jack is not maybe the best at physical comedy compared to some other physical comedians, but I think this is an example of great physical comedy that works with Jack's style. And my favorite part is when he grabs onto Don Wilson and lets him drag him across the room. I think that's great physical comedy.
Fabulous.
Definitely.
That was fabulous.
I wonder how hard that was on his body, because he was doing quite a bit in this episode.
Even for a 39-year-old, late 60s.
Yeah.
The one thing I would grump at the writers for the show about is the kind of tired old. When you said, Hope, that the show got pretty dull, they went back on a very old, over boring plot twist that somehow Jack and Jake, or Jack and Jackie, were going to be in a producing company together.
Right.
That's as old as the hills. Every radio show had done that when they had a guest on. And so that's the one place it seemed to me they didn't take more advantage of Jackie's skills, or anything. That was kind of one of these things. It's the last minute. We're spending so much time doing the painting routine and these other visual things that we're going to let this slide till the last minute. And maybe it wasn't the freshest.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, I would say the episode doesn't go anywhere. It starts sort of at the beginning, right off the bat, at the best it's going to be. And then it sort of, wears out a little bit by the end, for sure.
Yeah. I never understood why they even in I know it's kind of an old routine, but it doesn't even really make sense to me why Jack and Jackie Gleason would want to form if it was George and Jack, I get it, but I don't understand why they would want a production company together. I didn't buy it. So
well, it's essentially the writers probably sitting around and going, okay, we got this whole production thing that we're going to be doing with
it's as old as 1932 and 1933, where the first time somebody got Jack off track was they forced him to change his narrative to becoming a theatrical producer trying to put together a show. They should have learned it didn't work in 32. Not working so well in 55.
But it must, or they must have felt like it works, because you hear it so many times, like you say, on so many shows. You can definitely see the writers sitting around going, we're doing this whole painting thing, and then, well, we need to do something with Jack and Jackie Gleason. Well, let's do that whole old bit where they're going to produce something together and arguing over who gets the credit and all that sort of thing. But it's just too old, and we've seen it too many times. And you'd see it. The thing is, what's funny is we've seen it so many times, and yet you also see it on the Beverly Hillbillies later, and on I Dream of Jeannie, and there's episodes of almost every show that has something where somebody's going to go into business and then they're arguing over how that's going to work. Right?
It is interesting to like you mentioned, these classic TV shows. I love watching classic TV from the 50s, but usually I think of Jack Benny in old time radio show land, right? And
Right.
the 30s and 40s. So it's interesting to see him here in the 50s and sort of like just putting yourself in that contemporary world. I'm thinking in particular of the new Disneyland show, which had Davy Crockett on every week.
Right.
And then in this episode, they're singing the Davy Crockett theme song.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to think of the time frame that his shows are. And the thing is, with a 15-year show that he has, he crosses so many time frames. I mean, he can have in his later seasons where he's joking about the Beatles, and in these early episodes where he's joking about the beginnings of Disneyland, like we're saying, or certainly the Jackie Gleason show and I Love Lucy and all these other contemporary things that are going. Just amazing. Anyway, I'll leave it there. So thanks, everybody.
Lucky Strike.
Light up the lucky, it's light up time. Be happy, go lucky, it's light up time. For the taste that you like, light up a Lucky Strike. Relax, it's light up time.
Those men out there have the right idea. Comes the time to take a quick break, comes a great time to light up. And a great cigarette to light up is a Lucky. Luckies taste better because they're made of fine, light, naturally good-tasting tobacco. Then that fine tobacco is toasted. It's toasted to taste better, to taste cleaner, fresher, smoother. So the next time you buy cigarettes, get better taste. Get a carton of Lucky Strike.
For the taste that you like, light up a Lucky Strike right now. Light up a Lucky. It's light up time.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight Jack Benny is in New York City. And I know this will come as much of a surprise to you as it did to me, because on this trip, Jack is living at one of the finest hotels in New York. So now let's pick up Jack and Rochester in the luxurious penthouse suite of the St. Regis Hotel.
Say, boss, would you like me to get you another pillow?
No, Rochester, I couldn't be more comfortable. How about you? Are you relaxed?
Relax. Boss, if my watch stopped, there wouldn't be any life here at all.
Well, we're certainly living it up, aren't we?
Yep. I think I'll get myself another pillow, though. Of all the times you've come to New York, this is the first time you've stayed at a nice hotel.
Yep.
What a dump that was you used to stay at, the Acme Plaza. What a broken down joint that was.
Well, Rochester, the reason I stayed there because it was so close to the subway.
Good thing it was. We had to use their washroom.
Well, things are different now.
They sure are. You know, I bet the rate on this suite is about $30 a day.
30? Are you kidding? This suite is $36 a day. It's posted in the closet. What are you laughing at?
The Acme Plaza was $36 too, but that was for the season.
Well, we're really living it up now.
Yeah. Who is it?
Mr. Stevens. It's the manager of this hotel. Hurry up. Coming! 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 With you. Mr. Stevens.
Look, I hired you 4 days ago. When are you going to finish painting this room?
Well, you see, Mr. Stevens, it takes quite a while, you know, to mix the paint to get it the proper color and texture so it'll flow off the brush easily, you know. Isn't that right, Rembrandt?
Oh, you're so right, Mr. Picasso.
Rembrandt, Picasso?
Yes, Sam Rembrandt. I'm Joe Picasso.
Oh. Well, I'm going to the bedroom and see what color I'd like to have you paint them.
Say, Sam.
No, you're Sam. I'm Joe.
Well, say, Joe.
Wait, it's coming back.
I think I'd like both bedrooms redone in pink.
Pink.
By the way, when you fellas go home at night, would you please lock this door? Somebody's been sleeping in those beds.
No. Well, we'll certainly watch it.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Hello. Well, that was a close one, wasn't it?
Not as close as yesterday morning. We'd just gotten out of bed when the manager came in.
Well, that wasn't so close. You know, by the time we got the buckets of paint and the overalls on, and by the time the manager came in, you were up on the step ladder and working on the ceiling.
I know, but I had a toothbrush in my hand.
Oh, well, let's get these things back.
Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett. Rochester, how do you get in and out of these overalls so fast?
I butted the legs.
Well, sit back and relax again. Just a minute. One second. Be with you in a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the room was occupied.
Well, let's put all the stuff up again.
No, wait a minute, Rochester. Let's leave everything where it is. Then we can be dressed if someone comes in, we'll be all ready, you know?
You sure go to a lot of trouble just for save a lousy $36 a day.
Rochester, there's no such a thing as a lousy $36. Anyway, I don't know how did the manager find out about anyone sleeping in those beds? Did he see my pajamas?
Not unless he looked out the window. I washed them and hung them on the flagpole.
Rochester, I begged you last night not to hang my pajamas on the flagpole again.
Why, were they cold when you put them on?
No, but when I turned over in bed, what a mess.
Why?
A pigeon laid an egg in my pocket.
If that egg hadn't broken, you'd be a mother now.
Well, let's take it easy now for a while. There. You see? Aren't you glad I told you to leave the clothes on?
Yeah.
Who is that?
It's me, Don Woodson. Lois is with me.
Is Don Woodson and his wife? We can't let him see us like this. Wait a minute! Just a minute! Just a minute! Just a minute, Don! Wait, just 1 minute, we'll be right back. 1 minute, please. Just a minute. Don, just a minute, Don! Okay. Let him in.
Hello, Rochester.
You know, Jack, we'd have been here sooner, but there was such a crowd in front of the hotel.
A crowd? Why?
Well, somebody wearing pajamas hung himself from the flagpole.
Oh, that was probably just a publicity stunt. Take Mrs. Wilson's wrap, will you?
Yes, sir.
See, you know, Jack, when you called me and told me to tell Don that you were living in the penthouse suite of the St. Regis Hotel, I could hardly believe it.
I know. No, I heard you laughing.
That was the operator.
As a matter of fact, Jack, that's why I came over. I want to tell you how happy I am that you finally stopped being so cheap.
Cheap? Don, I'm not cheap. I spend money when I have to.
Oh, yeah? What about that time when you needed an operation? You wanted Rochester to take your appendix out.
I did not. I merely asked him if he knew how.
So? Well, Jack, the important thing is that you are living at a very nice hotel now, and I'm proud.
Well, I'm glad.
Say, Jack,
Yeah?
you know, I can get some good ideas from this room to use when we redo our apartment back home.
Really?
Don, I just love those drapes.
Aren't they nice?
Oh, they're lovely.
Certainly are.
Oh, and these lamps. They're really unique.
Oh, they are. They are.
This painting is beautiful, too.
The painting? Oh, yeah, that's an original painting.
Really? Who painted it?
Rembrandt.
Did you call me, boy?
No.
He said Rembrandt, not Rochester.
Ho, 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 ho!
Jack, Jack, I've known you a long time, and I know you wouldn't be living in as nice a room as this if you didn't have a good reason. Now, what is it?
Well, Don, if you must know, Jackie Gleason is coming over to visit me.
Jackie Gleason?
Yes, you see, he and I were forming a company together to produce television shows. You know, and we're going to have this company, just Jackie and myself, and naturally I took this suite because I wanted to impress him.
Well, I knew there must have been something.
Yeah.
By the way, Jack, I'm hungry. I can stand a sandwich.
A sandwich?
I'd like one, too.
I'll call room service.
Room service? No, 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 no,
Jack, I know this is a classy hotel, but sandwich can't be that expensive.
Mr. Wilson, if any food comes in this room, it'll cost us $36 a day.
What?
Retroactive.
Don, if you want a sandwich, why, I'll send Rochester out.
Well, never mind, Jack. I have an appointment with a sponsor, and on the way, we'll stop at a few restaurants.
Well, all right. All right, get it going. Get it going. Get it going. Go. There you are. Goodbye, Don. Goodbye. You know, Rochester, Mr. Wilson talking about food made me kind of hungry. How about something to eat, huh?
Okay. Baby, baby, come here. Rocket.
Rochester, what kind of sandwiches are these?
Hot roast beef. I left the light on all night.
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andre Baruch. Now, while Jack is having a sandwich and awaiting the arrival of Jackie Gleason, hear this song? That means it's not only lunchtime, it's light-up time. And a great cigarette to light up is a Lucky. Would you join me? Lucky's taste better because they're made of fine, light, naturally good-tasting tobacco. And then that fine tobacco is toasted. It's toasted to taste better, to taste cleaner, fresher, smoother. So next time you get cigarettes, get better taste. Get a carton of Lucky Strike. And now let's go back to Jack Benny's luxurious suite in the St. Regis Hotel, where he's awaiting the arrival of Jackie Gleason.
Well, boss, I washed the glasses and put them up.
Good, good.
Say, when are you expecting Mr. Gleason to come over?
He ought to be here any minute now.
Well, how are you going to know it's him at the door?
Oh, when I phoned him, I told him to come right up to the room and then knock like this, you know. See?
Boss, I got to hand it to you. You're really smart.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you must be. You told me yourself that when you finished the 3rd grade, they handed you your diploma for your graduation.
That wasn't because I was smart. I was 27 years old. They were sick of me. Well, it just goes to show you. Right. Hey, that must be Gleason. Let him in.
Yes.
All right, kids, wait for me in the bus. Well, hiya, Jake.
Jackie! Jack, do you always make an entrance like this? I mean, with the girls dancing?
Every place I go, pal. Last night, they kicked over 12 tables at the Star Club. Yes. And it's murder when we get into a phone booth. Say, I want to tell you that you have a nice place here. This is beautiful. Hiya, Rochester.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gleason.
You know, Rochester, I think it's pretty nice of you to allow Mr. Benny to stay here in your room.
Wait a minute. This isn't his room, it's ours. I mean, it's mine. And if you want to know something, Don Wilson was here a little while ago, and saw this room. He was nuts about it.
Who?
Don Wilson.
Oh, Fatso.
Fatso? Well, that's a fine remark coming from somebody who had a diet to go through the Holland Tunnel.
Don't talk to me about dieting, you and your fat tongue.
Through the Lincoln Tunnel.
That's better. See, you are hot enough. Look, Jake, I come up to talk some business with you, so let's get at it.
Okay.
Now, in order to facilitate matters, I had all the papers drawn up.
Good, good.
Now, get a load of this. The Jack Benny, Jackie Gleason Television Productions Company.
Say, you put my name first.
Why, of course. And look at all the times your name is mentioned. Jack Benny, Jack Benny, Jack Benny, Jack Benny.
God.
Jack Benny agrees that Jackie Gleason will be the producer. Jack Benny agrees that Jackie Gleason will be the director.
What?
Jack Benny agrees that Jackie Gleason will be the star.
Now, wait a minute. When we first talked about forming this company, you said that you were willing for me to be the star.
Well, I agree. I know. You're absolutely right, and I don't deny it. But since I agreed that when we made these films, you'd be the star, well, something's happened.
What? What changed your mind?
I had lunch with the Warner Brothers.
Uh-huh.
They were telling me about a gem you made for them called,
The Horn Blows at Midnight?
It's funny, but when you say it, it sounds so harmless.
Well, what are the Warner Brothers complaining about? Every place that picture showed, they made a fortune.
They did?
Yeah.
Yeah, they sold Alka-Seltzer in the lobby.
Never mind. Now look at Jackie. Let's talk this over. Now I want to be fair. Sit down. I think you have just as much right to be the star as I have. But I think we ought to take it up at the next stockholders meeting, and we vote on it.
Now, that's ridiculous. How can that decide who's going to be the star? You and I are the only ones that hold any stock.
I sold one share to Rochester.
You are a snake. However, I got an idea that'll solve the whole problem. Neither one of us will star in the picture. We'll get a nice young horse.
A horse?
Why, certainly, that's what the public wants, animals. Look at how well Lassie's doing and Francis the mule. Now, we'll get a good horse, and we'll start a whole series. Perhaps we'll call it The Adventures of Dollar. How does that strike your fancy?
Well, I mean, if we're going to invest a lot of money in a series, supposing the horse gets old.
Well, when he gets to be 39, we'll shoot him dead. Now, come on, pal. Sign the contract, and it's a deal.
Well, all right, let me look at it.
You know, Jack, I've got a confession to make.
Confession?
Yeah, when you first approached me, you know, about becoming partners with you, I wasn't too hot on the idea. I didn't want to be associated with you. I didn't want to get mixed up with anybody as cheap and as stingy as you were.
Cheap and stingy?
But I apologize. When I walked in here and saw this expensive, beautiful, opulent suite, I want to tell you, Jake, I was proud to be your partner.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jackie, very much. Now, let's look over this contract here just a minute.
Phone's ringing.
Oh. Rochester, answer the phone, will you?
I just thought of something I forgot to do.
Let's see.
Aren't you going to answer the phone, Jack?
No.
You want me to answer it?
No, you're not even supposed to be here.
What?
Rochester, answer the phone.
All right. Hello? Yes? Uh-oh. It's the manager of the hotel.
Yeah?
Oh, Mr. Picasso's busy. This is Rembrandt speaking.
Rembrandt?
Just a moment. Yeah, I'll tell him. He said he didn't think he's going to like pink in the bedrooms. He's coming up again.
Wait, listen. Pardon me. Here. Jack! Will you sign a contract, Jack? Come on, Jack. I got to go out and audition a horse. Will you come on and sign the contract? Wait a minute. What's going on?
Wait a minute. Here, hold it.
Tell him that you're the foreman. What's going on? What's going on here? What's going on?
We'll be back in just a moment. First, a word to cigarette smokers.
Light up the lucky.
It's light up time.
Be happy, go lucky.
It's light up time.
For the taste that you like, light up the lucky strike.
Relax.
It's light up time.
Now there's how to really enjoy yourself. Some sparkling cold water, nice warm sunshine, and of course, a Lucky. The cigarette has to be Lucky Strike simply because Lucky's taste better, anytime, anywhere, and for good reasons. You'll see one of them right on the bottom of the pack. You see it? LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Tobacco so fine, so light, so mild, it's just naturally good tasting. And then something extra happens to that tobacco just before it's made into Lucky Strike cigarettes. It's toasted. It's toasted, the famous Lucky Strike process brings that naturally good-tasting tobacco to its peak of flavor, tones it up to make it taste even better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. So anytime it's light-up time for you, be happy, go Lucky. You'll say it's the best-tasting cigarette you ever smoked.
For the taste that you like, light up the Lucky Strike.
Right now.
Light up a Lucky.
It's light up time.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And now, once again, I would like to have you meet my guest, Jackie Gleason. Thought you left him on the bus.
They climb out the window.
Jackie.
Yes.
Why are you dressed like that?
Well, I'll tell you, Jack. I found out the real dump you're living in, and I'm going over to paint it.
How'd you find out about the Acme Plaza?
Well, to tell you the truth, Jack, when I was broke, I used to stay at that hotel.
No kidding.
Yes.
What room was it?
Minus 12.
You mean that far down?
Yes. I'll never forget the first time I checked into the hotel. The doorman took my bag, said, "Follow me," and jumped right down a coal chute.
That must have been John L. Lewis's suite.
Same place.
Well, Jackie,
Yes.
hey, this is a pretty tough show for a
Yes, I was-
suave comedian like me to do, don't you think?
Oh, yes. You're known as one of the biggest swabs in show.
Well, Jackie, thanks very, very much for being on my last show, and now you can go.
Jake?
Yes, Jacqueline?
You're ad-libbing. I want you to know that Gleason never just goes. No. A little traveling music, please.
Jackie, take a bow. Gee, one of the girls dropped her earring. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I must say, before I leave, that Jackie Gleason, I think, is not only one of the great... Am I through? Gee, I'll have to come back and tell you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Appearing on tonight's program are Lois Corbett, the June Taylor Dancers, Alan Tower, and Mildred Clinton. Remember, 1 week from tonight on this same station, be sure and watch Ann Southern in Private Secretary. In the meantime, this is Don Wilson reminding you to listen to the Jack Benny Show on radio every Sunday night over the CBS Radio Network.
Get true tobacco taste in a filter tip cigarette. The easy drawing filter tip Tarryton cigarette. The pearl gray charcoal filter tip cigarette. Smoke filter tip Tarryton.
Take your cue from the red, white, and blue on the package.
Smoke filter tip Tarryton.
You'll enjoy true tobacco taste when you smoke filter tip Tarryton with the pearl gray activated charcoal filter. Try easy drawing filter tip Tarryton, the best in filtered smoking.
The Jack Benny program has been brought to you by the American Tobacco Company, America's leading manufacturer of cigarettes. The Jack Benny program has been selected for viewing by America's Armed Forces overseas.